What's going on, Detroit Lions fans? Welcome back. Real quick, I got to tell you, this is a bad week for your central air unit to go out. I'm just going to say, if you can't tell, it is about 1,000 degrees in my office right now. I'm going to try to get through this episode best I can. If I pass out, someone please call help if you know where I live. Real quick, I got to get into it. I got to get into some injury news. Sucks, man. Kaminsky probably out for the year. Reports came out that he was carted off the field this morning. I kept checking Twitter to see exactly what the diagnosis was. I had a pretty general idea, ACL, MCL, or Achilles. I knew it was probably going to be one of those three. Ended up being an MCL tear. His timetable is 5 to 6 months. Could he come back for the playoffs? Yes. Do I think we'll see him in pads or a Detroit Lions uniform this season? No. So I also don't know what that means for the future of Kaminsky. I don't know where his path leads, guys. I don't know, but I will say I hope he recovers fast. I hope he has a speedy recovery, rehab, and all that goes well. And we'll just have to see how the cards fall later on down the road with the Detroit Lions future. Also, kind of been seeing some rumblings about some people wanting another kicker to be signed. I know James Turner just became available. The Green Bay Packers cut him. He was with the Detroit Lions. A lot of people were asking, well, what about him? He was currently with the Green Bay Packers. I think someone asked the other day, but he did just get released. So maybe that's a guy we bring in for a little bit of kicking depth. Brad Holmes said the other day that he would like to bring in another kicker for some competition. So I feel like James Turner might be a name to look out for. But let's get into the nitty gritty. Let's get into some real Detroit Lions football, guys. The injuries are behind us. We got to talk about what's actually going on in training camp. A couple things. Every single thing I'm going to talk about today is really sticking out with me. A lot of interesting, good topics that I really want to discuss. First, I want to get into Ennis Rakestraw. A lot of people say that he dominated the day. A lot of people on Twitter, Tim 20 Minutes, some other guys I follow said that Ennis Rakestraw has probably had the best 2 days in pads. And I've seen some highlights. I've seen some clips on Twitter. Read some articles. Had a forced two turnovers, one interception and one fumble. I don't know if he recovered the fumble, but I believe he caused it from what I saw. Ennis Rakestraw, man, he's battling for that nickel position. He's battling maybe even for cornerback too. I don't know. Everything's still on the table, but I feel like him and Amik Robertson kind of going into camp was the expectations that those two are going to fight it out for the Nichols position with Brian Branch, who's also back in pads, playing safety full-time. So I'm really, really loving the news about Ennis Rakestraw. This is a kid we got for phenomenal value. Second round pick, I believe, pick 61. And a lot of people were mocking him to the Detroit Lions in the first round. So we got 2 first-round cornerbacks who have played very, very well in this training camp so far. And I'm going to get into some stuff that I heard about Terrion Arnold in a second. But I want to just keep the focus on Ennis right now. The secondary is going to be complete. The secondary was kind of the question mark going into this season. What's going to happen? We got shredded. We had guys that we were picking up off the couch from other practice squads, the Chicago Bears, Kendall Vildor. We don't have that problem no more. We got high-level competition in this training camp. For the first time in a long time, our secondary is deep. Very, very deep. And I think Ennis Rakestraw right now today is the starting nickelback. I just think Amik Robertson, I think he can float around to a lot of different positions, and he will get involved in some games, whether that's at corner, maybe a little bit of nickel. I know he matches up well with some of those really speedster guys. I know he had some good tape out there against Justin Jefferson, so those type of receivers. He's just kind of like that little annoying gnat that just won't go away, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. So I'm looking at Ennis Rakestraw. I think he's winning the battle right now, but we still have a long way to go before we put out a final depth chart. Second thing, really, really exciting news about Levi Onwuzurike. He's also been dominating training camp since they put the pads on. And what I love is his mentality. He just seems absolutely laser focused. A reporter was trying to get him to come over after practice for a quick little interview, and he just said the words "locked in." No interviews. Went to the locker room, locked in. I'm not talking. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. My focus is football. I love that mindset. I've been on record saying that Levi Onwuzurike, when healthy, is a problem. The problem is his availability. If he's finally healthy and he's finally got it all put together and we're going to see 17 games out of him, is he going to play over DJ Reader, who's currently hurt? We don't really exactly know what's going on there. I've seen some rumblings about DJ maybe that thigh is not completely healed. I don't want to go down that road too far until I know more, but I have just seen some stuff. Maybe Levi Onwuzurike can just kind of bridge that gap until DJ Reader is ready and healthy. And I think Levi can be an absolute problem. I think he's a high-level player. I think he is very disruptive. I like everything I see on tape. My only problem has just been his availability. If he's ready to go, if he's locked in, guys, this defensive line is going to be one of the best units that the Detroit Lions have. Offensive line, defensive line, they're going to dominate the areas that they need to dominate. The run game, getting after the quarterback, protecting the quarterback, running the football, those four phases of the game within the game right there, when just in the trenches we have, we're going to be very, very solid. We're going to be a freaking tough team to beat. I almost said a bad word right there. I'm trying to get better at swearing. Sometimes it slips out, especially when the Lions lose, so I apologize in advance. So I'm excited about Ennis, excited about Levi. Got to have a little conversation about Terrion Arnold. Nothing bad, nothing to be worried about. I actually think that this is a positive for another player. I saw some reports, some rumblings from people that I trust. So if I'm wrong on this, please speak up. Let me know if something else happened, if you were actually at training camp or if you have footage or if you saw it firsthand. I'm open for interpretation here. But I had read from a couple people that Kirby Joseph was getting after Terrion Arnold, kind of calling him out, but in a constructive criticism type of way, kind of just being like that leader, that mentor. And it kind of made me think back to last season when Kirby Joseph was getting into it on the sidelines with CJ Gardner-Johnson. I think Kirby Joseph is really just trying to take more of a leadership role. I've said before, he's only in year 3, but he's kind of the veteran on our secondary. When you think about it, like he's been there the longest as far as I can think. Like Carlton Davis is new. The 2 rookies are obviously new. Amik Robertson's new. Brian Branch is only going into year 2. Ify Melifonwu and him are kind of like the old timers going into year 3. So I think Kirby's just trying to take a more approach to being a leader to Terrion Arnold. And I don't know the situation that he was coaching on Bonpon. I don't know what the assignment was. I don't know if it was a blown coverage. I don't exactly know. I don't have a clip, but I did see this, and it just kind of got me thinking. I'm not worried about Terrion Arnold at all. I really love to see this leadership from Kirby Joseph more than anything. I like to see Kirby stepping up, man. He's been very vocal this training camp saying, I want to lead the NFL in interceptions. I think he can do it. I think with this defensive line and this secondary, Kirby Joseph says that, and I wouldn't be surprised if he leads the NFL in interceptions. My number for that, I remember a couple years ago, I think it was Kevin Byard had 8 interceptions. I can see Kirby getting to 8. It's going to be tough. He's going to have to make some really good plays, but I think Kirby can get it done. I really love the role that Kirby's kind of blossoming into, just kind of maturing, man, and just taking these rookies under his wing. That's what these guys need more than anything. Hey, this is how you be a pro. You're accountable at this level. This isn't college anymore. This is, if you don't make a play, it could be the difference in winning a game and losing a game. We've seen it. We've seen it last year in the NFC Championship where a couple, 2 or 3 plays here shift the momentum. It's that kind of environment. This isn't college anymore. You're accountable. You need to know your assignments. And I love that Kirby's coaching him. I hope it was a good type of coaching, if you know what I mean. Not like I don't even want to get into that. But I'm really just like to see Kirby taking on this role. So I'm excited about that. Terrion Arnold, he's going to be fine. Not worried about that one single bit. Lastly, I'm super excited about this. Marcus Davenport being called the silent killer because nobody's really talking about him. But I see a lot of stuff. I read a lot of stuff. I follow a lot of people on Twitter, a lot of people that I trust, a lot of people that I talk to, and they're saying that Marcus Davenport looks good. Now, is he one of those guys that's really standing out? No. Do I need him to be? I don't need you to be. I just need you to be the Marcus Davenport that we saw with the Saints when he was healthy, and he was unblockable. He might not go out there and put out double-digit sacks because a lot of teams were kind of shaping their offense to go around Marcus Davenport, and you got Aiden Hutchinson on that other side, so you got to be real careful with what you're doing offensively. You also got some beasts up the middle that I just mentioned. DJ Reader, when he comes back fully healthy. Levi Onwuzurike, who's I think, obviously I just talked about him. I think our defensive line is going to be absolutely monstrous. So Marcus Davenport, the silent killer, I absolutely love that nickname. Just kind of doing everything right, man. He's just going to kind of show up. I'm going to stuff the run. I'm going to set the edge. I'm going to get after the quarterback if my number's called. I love the way this team's shaping up. Training camp is still early. We still have a game to see. That's the ultimate test for me. I can read everything. I can see people's opinions that I believe and that I kind of have the same opinion about with, but until I see it on the field in a preseason game, a little more than a week from now, that's when I'll make some more harsher judgments, guys. So I hope you like this episode, just kind of a training camp recap. Stick around, hit that like button, guys. I'll be back later with another show.